You're watching Talking Points, a focus on the political scene in Lubbock and across the South Plains.
And welcome back. Here's a look at some of the political headlines of the past week. We mentioned Congressman Arrington earlier, lost in the mix with some new legislation he introduced in the House. It's H.R. 5576, which would eliminate what he calls double dipping and would ensure that people who are able to work would not be able to draw both unemployment benefits and Social Security benefits at the same time. He says it could save $2.5 billion over 10 years. Governor Greg Abbott is off on another foreign economic development mission, this time to Israel and Switzerland. The idea is to grow cultural and business ties there. Texas has already exported $950 million worth of goods to Israel and over $600 million to Switzerland. The official filings for Lubbock City elections are off and rolling now, and those will include a re-election campaign for District 2 Councilwoman Sheila Patterson Harris. At her announcement event, Ms. Harris talked about her vision to work with other leaders to continue to bring the city together and establish equal opportunities for all citizens. And the terrible events of last weekend, losing our first responders, prevented us from talking to some of the Democratic Senate candidates who came to Lubbock for a fundraiser and to help introduce themselves as well, and other Democrats running for office to voters here. Several hundred people at the Overton Hotel for that event. But here's the thing. How many of you right now know the names of any of the people running against John Cornyn for his Senate seat? A recent survey says most of you have no idea, which is a great thing for Cornyn, really bad for the other candidates. Our Wes Rappaport is back now with more on the importance of name recognition in politics.
President Donald Trump is confident about the senior senator from Texas, John Cornyn, keeping his seat in 2020.
Senator John Cornyn, I looked at your polls. Nobody's beating you, John. Nobody.
It's a crowded field. Look at the data from recent polling by the Texas Tribune and Texas Politics Project. When it comes to name recognition, former Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Chris Bell tops the list at 24%.
Name ID is low, mine is the highest, and I think it is a great advantage.
He's followed closely by State Senator Royce West, who was proud to tout his legislative record to us on political program State of Texas earlier this month.
I have been talking about and taking action towards trying to implement them since 1993 through legislation and through attempting to make sure my colleagues on both sides of the aisle would be comfortable with it.
The poll shows former congressional candidate M.J. Hager has 20% name recognition. How much of this race is setting yourself apart from the other Democrats in the race, and how much of this race is setting yourself apart from John Cornyn?
0 and then 100.
For others, it's about making a good first impression.
Why not use this seat and make it about people and delivering results for them? Make it less about speeches and then less about slogans and more about results.
I think in this race, I may be underestimated.
But when asked who would get your vote in the Democratic primary, most people responded, I don't know.
Or none of them start with a significant advantage. Name recognition is almost everything, you know, as long as it's not intensely negative.
Jim Henson, who heads the Texas Politics Project, says voters are just distracted, and that gives Cornyn room to work.
It means that he has a lot more time to maneuver and get his electoral ducks in a row, if you will.
In Austin, Wes Rappaport, KMAC News.
Okay, Wes, thank you. It is time to spend 5 good minutes with a Republican candidate for Lubbock County Commissioner for District 3, Isidro Gutierrez. It's good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you, Brian. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Of course. You know, anytime, you've done this before, served a term on the court in District 3 several years ago. As a Democrat then, tell folks why the switch to the Republican Party when that happened.
Well, I've always been a conservative, Brian. I want voters to know that. So I really came home, as far as I'm concerned, because we go all the way back to the very first I ever voted. I voted for Richard Nixon. I was very proud of Nixon when he resupplied the Israelis during the 1973 war. That is something that I felt very good about as an American, because we needed to help them. And so my conservative roots go all the way back to 1973, actually, or the very first time that I voted, when I voted for Richard Nixon, which I think was in 1970.
Yeah.
So switching to the Republican Party was natural. It was the logical thing for me to do.
So, for people watching, would the switch bring any changes to how you would vote on any certain things from the first time you held the office in the Commissioner's Court?
That is an excellent question. Thank you so much. The answer is no, because look at my voting record from my first term as Commissioner. I voted for smaller government, lower taxes, no pay raises. As a matter of fact, when we did get a pay raise from the votes of the other commissioners, I did not accept my raise. I donated it to charity back then, and I'll do it again if it happens again.
Folks are doing that now as well. Yeah, of course, you lost the 08 primary to the current office holder. Looking back, what was it that cost you that election? What would you do differently now, or will you do differently now?
Well, I believe that what actually cost me the election at that time was my conservative voting record. I was a Democrat at the time, and the Democrats simply were not happy with the way that I was voting on the court. And I believe that is probably the reason that I lost that election. But I'm home, so I'm very happy to be amongst conservatives, like Red Skelton said once. It's nice to be among the conservatives again.
All right. Hey, remind folks of your background other than time on the court. I know you were Sergeant Major in the Army, still active in a lot of things, right?
That's correct. I was one of the last people drafted into the Army during the Vietnam era. So I am a Vietnam era veteran. And I worked my way through the ranks all the way up to Sergeant Major. My last assignment was a research and development facility.
You know, what needs to be done for folks in District 3, which folks who may not know or live there, kind of the northeast part of the county?
It is the northeast quadrant. It's the largest geographical area.
Exactly. What needs to be done there that has not been done in recent years?
Well, things that have not been done, for example, I had some good ideas when I was on the court before. I want to bring a windmill to the Lubbock County Jail so that we can reduce the cost of electricity and power out at the county jail, which is significant. That was one of the ideas that I had before, and I want to bring that back. A windmill can be paid for in short term, and they have a long life, so they do return on the investment in a big way, because their life of 40 years, that means that there's a time there where you're getting free electricity.
Interesting.
And so also now that the solar panel technology is coming along, I would add that. This is a way to reduce the cost of power or electricity, let's say, at the Lubbock County Jail, which is significant. I want to also mention to voters that commissioners are the elected officials at the county level that are the only ones that can save the voters money. For example, I don't want to raise taxes when we have ad valorem taxes, which is we only call appraisal creep, which generates revenues, new revenues every year for the county. If we have new revenues coming in every year, there seems to be a diminished need for raising taxes. I'll be very, very vigilant about not raising taxes in view of the fact that we have new revenues coming in every year.
Very good. Isidro Gutierrez, good to see you again. Good luck to you. Come back and see us soon.
I appreciate the invitation. Thank you.
All right, thank you.